Welcome to the May 9th, 2022 edition of Bourbon-n-Blockchain Happy Hour. Tonight we have a full house with Draco, Myron, and Mr. Maverick. Boys, summer is finally here, but it's crypto winter in my heart. Gentlemen, how was your weekends?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
Draco, you had a good chat with an NFT project. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we had an interview with Neon Pantheon and Tweet Freak, who's he's a good friend and he's part of the community manager of that group. And another great project that he's working with, and he's been with that project for a long time. And they have some big things coming up. And unfortunately, we weren't able to record that interview, so we might have to do another one here in the near future. But they said some pretty crazy stuff, and one of the things that they're doing is when you mint with that project on their next mint that's coming up, you get to choose your traits based off of rarity points. So you get a set amount of rarity points, and you get to spend them on what you want your NFT to look like. I've never even heard of that before, so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty neat. That's like an RPG video game turned into an NFT. So yeah, that's really interesting. Nobody's done anything like that yet.
Yeah, the developers are from a company called Reroll. So they've been in the D&D world, and they like are going to allow you to re-roll some of your traits too when you earn more rarity points. So if you don't like exactly what you have, you'll have an opportunity to re-roll some of your traits, which reminded me exactly of like the D&D Diablo type environment, and that's kind of what it sounds like they're going for. So I'm pretty excited about it actually. Neon Pantheon, check it out.
Yeah, that reminds me of like just almost every video game you ever played where you level up, you get points, then you can allocate those points to different traits, for your character. But applying
Yep.
that to an NFT project just sounds genius though.
I
So
think it's amazing. I think they've got some really good developers, some really good ideas. Their first project was like 3,000 NFTs, and now they're opening up some more and adding a lot more options to it. So I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
nice. Maverick, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was Mother's Day weekend, so got to hang out with the family and kind of take it easy, um, and sit here and stare at the charts like a bumbling idiot, not knowing what to do. So yeah, it was a good weekend overall. Wanted to ask you too, Draco. Do you know if the whitelist spots were given for the Neon Pantheon? I know there was a giveaway that they did in there.
You know what?
For
I am not aware. I'll have to message Tweet Freak about it, and I'll let you know.
Yep, I think the community would be interested. I know there's several in Bourbon and Blockchains that signed up to try and win that. So
Yeah, I'll remind them.
Myron, you do anything fun this weekend? Did you hang out with your mom on Mother's Day?
Man, the weekend sucked. My name is Myron Pains, and this market is bleeding. No, I'm just kidding. I had a good week with my family, and they left go back to Houston Friday. No, on Saturday morning, and I drove back from Smoky Mountains. It's like an hour and a half drive. I just slept the whole day. We went hiking like every single day last week, so it was great. It was a great weekend.
Nice. Well, I guess it's time. The most solemn part of the show right now. Draco, what are you seeing in these charts? Doesn't look pretty.
I mean, it kind of depends on how you look at it, I guess. No, there's no sugarcoating it. We lost a whole bunch today. Over the last couple days, actually last week, over the weekend was pretty bad. And honestly, I think a lot of calls were made. A lot of people were liquidated. This is a degen market. It is what it is. But on top of that, I mean, people in general are in fear and uncertainty because of macroeconomics. Our economy and the economy around the world, inflation. There's a lot of unknowns. So, I think it's hitting this market pretty hard. And unfortunately, we're along for the ride. I mean, if you're involved in crypto, it's volatile. It's up and down. It's not always just up and to the right. So I mean, this is kind of just what we're dealing with right now. And based on the numbers we're looking at, 28,000 is for Bitcoin is definitely a possibility. I mean, we're not that far away from it at this point. So 28K would be like another stop. I know 30K was a stop. That's kind of why we're getting a bounce here. If we go below 30K, 28, and then below that would be like 25, and below that, there's a huge gap. So hopefully we don't break 28K, but it's very possible.
And Draco, are you a chart man? Do you have any opinion on what's going on? I mean, Maverick.
No, I follow a lot of very smart individuals. One we've had on the show in the past, Carolina Keith, and um, he has his zones set up pretty tight to what Draco just mentioned. I think at this point for me, it's more like building up the courage to take a position. Right? There's so much fear. There's so much doubt. Everybody's talking about the sky falling. I think we have a good topic that we're going to start off with today in Terra that is part of the fear that we're seeing today. And so, at least for me, Smokey, I'm just trying to build up the courage to actually take a position like we say we always should whenever the market's down.
Yeah. Before we go into Terra, I was going to point out there are some people buying Bitcoin right now. Just while we're on the topic of Bitcoin, the El Salvador government bought 500 BTC today. So, yeah, the market's look ugly, but there are people buying. That's about a $15 million purchase. So, there's some people looking at the charts and saying, okay, now's a good time to get in. Does this affect your assessment at all, seeing, this kind of purchase, Draco?
Well, you know what? I mean, I think that countries like El Salvador and other countries that are going to potentially utilize Bitcoin as a currency, honestly, I think that they're going to do what institutions are going to do when they get in. So they're buying the dip, and El Salvador is not going to sell Bitcoin at $30,000. They're not dumb. They have a lot of people working on this. They have an entire economy that they're trying to build on this. And you got to remember, places like El Salvador or any country that was using a currency that didn't have their own currency that they could print whenever they wanted, they're the ones that are getting screwed the most. Some of those countries are seeing 14 to 18 to 20% inflation because they can't just print their own money to fix their problem. So they get the back end of it. So those are the countries that are jumping onto Bitcoin first because they're trying to save themselves. So I think this is going to become more and more and more of a trend. And like I said on one of our last shows, I think that we're going to see at a minimum 5 countries that adopt Bitcoin and as an actual currency.
Myron, are you with us? I think Myron's having a little bit of issues. What do you think, Maverick? Oh, you are back. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good. I guess they just keep buying the dip, but the thing is, I think they're losing on their position. I don't know how much they're down because I remember when they bought. I mean, definitely when they bought it was a lot higher than this. It's good to see. I mean, just like Draco always says, this is like a 4-year investment, and I also don't think that they will sell the coins at this price, and I don't think they're trying to flip it. It's just another thing for them to hold. I also don't think that this is like a large part of the what they have as a country. It's just a little thing that they're buying on the side. So I think it's good. They keep doing it. They're committed. They're committed to make this accept Bitcoin. And just like people were saying that we don't think Saylor is going to sell his Bitcoins. And I think his liquidation level for the one that he took out a loan on is like $21,000. And I think even if it hits, he's probably going to get cash somehow so he doesn't get liquidated on that position. So I think people like this, they're just going to hold for a long time and they have their conviction to do it.
What kind of risk does Saylor have right now? Because hasn't he been taking loans out on his Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's just the one that if it hits to 21,000, I think people are calculating that's his liquidation point.
Oh, really? So if he hit 21,000,
so he'll have to add more money or he'll get liquidated. And I think he'll be able to add more money.
He'll just buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah. Isn't that what basically happened with Time? I know Time's like a small DeFi cockroach compared to Bitcoin, but wasn't it somewhat similar?
Where you can take out you can take out a loan on Time to you can use it to buy more time, which they call the DGen 99 or the 33. Oh yeah, by the way, what's Maverick's new NFT? It moves and everything, man. That's pretty advanced.
You like that? Yeah, Queen Bee custom designed it for me. It's pretty wild.
What's the price on that, man?
Yeah, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Yeah, but when it comes to the them buying BTC, I mean it's positive. I think you're right, Draco. I think we're going to see an influx of what we would consider to be some of the third world countries across the world adopting this. And I think that's bullish. And now it's not very much, right? 500 BTC in the whole scheme of things isn't a market mover, really, but it gains more credibility, more adoption. In long term, it's you have people holding this, right? These aren't people looking for a quick flip. They're not, bot trading it. This is another solid investment, that's going to be there for the long term, much like Sailor is. And the more of that happens, a lot of the big institutions, the countries that hold this and aren't looking to just flip it, but more for wealth generation. I mean, that's really what's going to drive Bitcoin long term, the price
Yep.
upwards,
And it's going to
and
make the price more stable. It's going to
and
bring in more
stabilize it.
people.
That's
Yep.
what I was going to say. Yep, and stabilize it in the same turn.
All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to kind of a crazy story here. This is about the Luna stablecoin called UST, which it's a stablecoin, so it's supposed to be pegged to the dollar. But Draco's been watching it, and it's gone as low as 70 cents today. Now, you may remember we've talked about Luna before. They're probably one of the biggest Bitcoin whales in the world. They've bought up to
I think it was
what?
3.5 billion.
Yeah, 35. So they have almost 36,000 Bitcoin. And a lot of that, I guess, explain this, Draco. So all that Bitcoin, is that the reserve for their stable coin? Is that why the stable coin's falling? Because Bitcoin's falling?
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what they did was, so Luna, so Terra is the stable coin. Luna is the token for the ecosystem, like their governance token. So it was, Terra was backed by that, and then backed by capital that was locked up in Anchor. So they added another peg to it, which was Bitcoin. They were adding to their treasury in hopes that Bitcoin would increase in value and then increase the treasury value over time. Well, because Bitcoin went down so sharply, and there were some people that were so there's people that are talking about how it was also like a timed attack as well, because as this was happening to Bitcoin, people were taking out massive amounts of money out of the ecosystem, both in Terra and in Luna. So who knows what actually happened? I'm sure there'll be somebody that writes about that in the future. But what happened was now Terra Luna, the whole entire ecosystem had to sell a bunch of their Bitcoin so that they can try to regain peg. So losing all that money so quickly brought their stable coin, which should be pegged to a dollar, off peg, and it kind of ruined the whole thing.
So is this kind of like a scandal, would you say? Or like, is this a show that the people are incompetent? Or what do you think of the story?
No, I don't think that's what it is. I think that what this is showing that if you're going to, back a project by, for example, Luna and Bitcoin, that if those two ecosystems go down and that's what your stablecoin's pegged to, then, there's a potential that stablecoin could lose peg. I think that they're working really hard to fix it. In my opinion, I mean, I don't know much about crypto, right? I just sit here and look at it all day with you guys. But in my opinion, if your stable coin that you're invested into goes off peg because of a 14% loss in the market in one day in crypto, and you sell because you're scared or nervous about that, then you haven't been here long enough, because that's insane to me. Like, there's still like $18 billion in the project. They're not going to just collapse. So relax, just step back a second. If you see this type of stuff happening and you're invested in those projects, maybe you just need to back up for a minute. And if you're an investor and you're invested in the project and all of that, think about what you're invested in and how important it is to you, because pulling your money out with a 30% loss is, in my opinion, is pretty dumb.
Yeah. Maverick, you've been following this. What's your thoughts on this story?
Yeah, no, I have been following it, but I definitely don't claim to be an expert. I even listened to this video here, and this guy in the CoinDesk article is not a big fan of Terra Luna, right? In fact, at the end, he ends with it being a Ponzi. I'm not saying that. I think there's some credibility. I think what these guys are doing, you don't grow to the size that they've grown to, and without substance. So yeah, I think so. Yes, I think one of the options is to sell off some of the BTC in order to raise the price, right, or try and regain the peg. But according to the articles and what I've been reading, they've been issuing, they've been essentially lending it out, right, trying to turn a profit and re-injecting that back into the protocol. So I don't know. I think it's scary that it can drop 30% in a day, but I'm along the lines of what Draco kind of just highlighted. It's a stable coin. It's reputable. I take a step back, maybe take a deep breath, and realize that it's going to rebound. Now, it could go very bad, right? I was reading some more in-depth stuff, and you read across Twitter. I never know what to believe, but I mean, it absolutely could come crashing down, and I can imagine that the people behind Terra Luna, the council as they call them, they're running around like with their heads like a chicken with their heads cut off, right? Like I would be losing my mind if I were in their position. So I'm interested to see what happens, but I do think that this has contributed to some of the price action we've seen in BTC today. Maybe even not directly by them selling, but there's definitely a lot of fear in the market when you see a top 10 drop 40 to 50% in a day.
Maximum fear.
Oh, it can't get any worse.
Yeah.
Or can it?
Is there a floor for how low it can go?
Maybe
like,
so.
Is there a floor for how low the stablecoin can go? Because is the stablecoin tradable for whatever they have in their reserves, or what? Like, I would think like the number of stablecoins in circulation would be worth the market cap of the protocol, right?
I don't. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that because it's a algorithmic. I'm horrible at that word. Algorithmic. Whatever.
Algo.
It's an algo stable coin, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think part of the problem is that with all this fear, with all the price action, their protocol is not moving fast enough, right? Like it's not executing the way it needs to be to make it all happen fast enough. And so I don't know. I did a little bit more in-depth reading, but I still don't claim to understand. It's a little confusing on how it works.
Myron, do you have any opinions on this?
Man, why are guys panicking, man? Compare your buying power with your dollar to a couple years ago, man. It dropped a lot. Inflation is worse than how much it dropped here. But with that being said, I think last time this happened with a major stable coin I remember is MIM, Magic Internet Money, when they came out with the news that the treasurer was like the guy from Quadriga. And people were starting to get fearful. I think, I don't remember which protocol, but they pulled like a bunch of money off of MIM. I don't remember. I have to go back and look, but I think it dropped into the 0.8s real quick. And of course, right now it's pegged again. It's like 0.99 something. So Terra is probably going to go back to that dollar. But of course, there's a lot of fear right now. And the thing is, if Bitcoin keeps dropping, then it's just going to be harder and harder for them to bring it back up. And today, I think it was like $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin they're loaning out to another market maker, some OTC deal so they can get back on peg. But this does really bring into question, some of these projects that we're so bullish on that we look at it, because when everything is up, when Terra was pushing the hundreds, we're like, oh man, this is a great project. And they're also buying Bitcoin in the 46,000 range.
Yep.
They're down a decent amount on, right? So, but the thing is, are we bullish really because that they bought Bitcoin and we love Bitcoin, or is it, something else about it? I think they did create something unique, but is it truly unique? I have to say that I haven't looked too much into Terra Luna. What if it is just one huge Ponzi scheme, like that they're not really producing any else, source of income rather than this? Because the guy Maverick was talking about in the video, he was talking about the play basically is to print as much Luna as you can, and while people are willing to pay for that Luna, you use that Luna to buy real stuff like BTC, property, or whatever it is. And the game goes on for as long as people are willing to admit that, hey, Luna has value. But what if that faith is gone and say, maybe Luna's not legit. Luna crashes, they'll still have these assets, but if they really want to keep that peg, they'll have to burn these assets, sell it off, or whatever they do. You know, I don't know too much about how they keep the peg to keep the peg, or is it just going to be a project that eventually fails? That's why I'm still, you know, I don't have any UST. I know people that have UST. I never got into the Terra system. I wish I had a long time ago. But man, looking at this, it dropped to like $30-something today, and it was 100 something. This is crazy, man. Like this type of volatility, a lot of people cannot handle. And even in stable coins, you know, stake there, and at one point you're down 30% on your stables. It's pretty crazy.
How can it be a Ponzi scheme if they're lending it out? Like, couldn't they just? Isn't it as easy as like going on KuCoin and lending it out and getting a couple percentage point profits, or putting it in BlockFi and getting a few points there? I would think it'd be pretty easy to make a return on your Bitcoin, right?
They were paying out 20%, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's other things you can do. It's all within their ecosystem, like on Anchor and stuff.
Okay. All right.
They lowered it now. It's not 20% now anymore. But
do you guys know, has Tether ever gone this low? Do you guys know off the top of your heads? Because there's always been, you know, Tether conspiracy theories that they're printing off way more Tether than they have, you know, the US dollars in the reserve. I don't think I've ever seen it go that far below $1, though. Have you guys?
Based on a basic search, the all-time low is 57 cents in March of 2015.
Okay, so
wow, that's pretty
So
bad.
that was like 7 years ago.
So yeah,
yeah.
So UST might not be a bad buy then. I mean, there might be some arbitrage there.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that we can take from this is no project, no matter how big, whether you're in the top 10 or you're in the top 10,000 projects or whatever it is, all projects have volatility or issues. So I hope they fix it. I think that, you know, Terra Luna, you know, I personally think it's a pretty good project, but we'll see what all comes out of this.
Yeah. So
someone was saying that you can always change one UST for $1 worth of Luna. So there's kind of keeps pegs that way, but I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure how all that works.
Well, yeah, and I read because of the price of Luna right now dropping below USD or the market cap, that's a big issue. So it's always supposed to remain above the USD market cap, from what I read.
okay.
Also, I mean, even with this, you know, recently, I know this is not one of our topics, but Crypto.com really slashed the rewards, and a lot of customers are very unhappy about it. And there's, you know, those people, you have to lock up your Crow to get certain rewards. You have different cards. I think the highest is Obsidian or something. But they really dropped it, and people were like, "Whoa, this is just false advertisement." And I'm, you know, right now I'm down on my Crow because I bought it at a high price, and now the rewards are getting slashed. So they complained about it, and now I think Crow's like, "Oh, okay, we'll give you a few percent back." But the thing is, not nearly as high as before. Before it was like 10% for the highest level card, or 8%, something crazy like that. And they slashed it a decent amount. And when they give it back, the people was like, "So if we didn't complain about it, you're just like keep it low." And they're like, "Yeah, I guess." So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of even these rewards that you think is sustainable for them. Now you're looking back, you know, where Terra Luna had 20%. And for a while, when everything was pumping, you have all these DAOs that's like hundreds of thousands APY. You look at 20%, you're like, that's pathetic. But now we look at it, we're like, wait, maybe 20% for these protocols are not even sustainable. And it's pretty wild to see.
Yeah. Yeah, 2021 was the year we all were chasing super high APYs. In 2022, we're just trying to stay alive.
Just surviving.
But yeah, so speaking of stable coins, Senator Toomey proposed the Stablecoin Trust Act, and it's kind of everything you would want it to be, or you think it should be. The act would require audits of stablecoin protocols that are participating in the U.S., and it would require these protocols to maintain assets that would make the volatility low, so that the coin would maintain a $1 peg. And also, the act says that the coin, or that the stable coins, would not be considered a security. So after seeing all this Luna stuff, do you guys think regulations for stable coins is a good idea? We'll start with you, Myron.
I think this is like biggest topic right now, even for SEC, right? For the even regulation is how they will view stable coins. I think stable coins is extremely important. You need to have a base level for, I guess, where you can hold things for crypto. Just imagine like if you don't have the dollar, all you have is just stocks. Every day it just changes. There's nothing solid you can hold. So I think in a regulated, well, not even regulated, in a good crypto system, you there's always should be something that we don't have to worry about is going to completely collapse. So I think this is needed. And right now I know there's many stable coins in the market, and I'm not sure if the government will push out like an official stable coin that will guarantee you that it's always going to be paid to the dollar or whatever. But I think this is just brings up more discussion, and I think this discussion needs to be had in order for us to go into more of a wider adoption, I guess, for cryptos.
Maverick, what's your thoughts on this? Do we need regulation?
No, I'm not giving up my BUSD. Not doing it. I mean, do we need regulation? Yeah, we do. Long term, if this is going to, gain a large market share, and this is the way the world is turning, the technology is going to be used in the future. It's inevitable. Now, I question if our government is educated enough at this point in order to regulate anything properly. And so I have my doubts. I still think it's a long ways away. At least the real version, I think there's going to be some weak version or weak legislation around it where they are attempting to do something. But there's a large learning curve, right? And so, yeah, positive. I think so. I really would hope that they lean on the experts and the professionals that understand it and have been in this space for a long time, and that the government really wraps their heads around how these ecosystems function as a whole, so we don't get some watered down, very difficult to use, and we have to have some special centralized wallet. I could just, man, I hate to think my thoughts spider web when I think about the types of things that they could make you do in order to utilize a regulated stablecoin.
Yeah, who is Senator Toomey? He doesn't ring a bell for me, good or bad. Is he reliable to write legislation like this? Or I don't even know what state he is or what party he is or anything.
Yeah, Pat Toomey. I think he's for Pennsylvania, or he was a senator in Pennsylvania. I don't know if he still is. Well, I guess he has to be. But honestly, everything that I feel about this is exactly what Mr. Maverick said. As long as they stay in their lane, I think that this is going to be very positive. I mean, we need regulation, and as long as they stay in their lane and they don't try to spiderweb, as if you will, like Mr. Maverick said, into nonsense, that's perfect. I mean, it's gonna make the whole system better with good regulation. What makes me nervous as well, just like with what Mr. Maverick is saying, is what you don't want to see is like, okay, well, we're going to do this, and then there's going to be a whole bunch of, what do they call it, pork fat, and there's going to be a whole bunch of nonsense in the bill that has nothing to do with crypto. They're going to say, okay, we're going to have this, that, and the other in there, and then there's going to be some completely off-topic nonsense. So hopefully that it doesn't go that way, and that's not how it's regulated, because as long as they stay in their lane, I think it's going to be really good for the system.
All right, we'll go on to the next topic, and please hit the like button. So we've been keeping track of Zuckerberg. He's trying to get his way, trying to find his way into the NFT space.
Zuckbucks?
Yeah. So he's going to be rolling out his NFTs for Instagram this week. So I just want to take a look at them. It looks like he's announced that the Spark AR company is who's making the NFTs. So it looks like it's like these filters that you use in your videos, like the bunny rabbit type thing. So he's going to sell these as NFTs. Do you guys think that these will sell?
No.
Draco, we'll start with you.
No, I hate anything that he touches. I hope it fails and nobody buys any of it.
Yeah.
I hope they sink $1 trillion into this project and nobody buys it, and it further destroys their entire ecosystem of Meta.
But if you're looking at it objectively, I mean, do you think someone could actually buy this? Like, it sounded kind of crazy that people would buy JPEGs for thousands
Right.
of dollars. I mean, do you
Yeah, I
think you
think
could
what
make
they're
an
trying to do is
exclusive?
make it more interactive, like NFTs that are more interactive, which makes sense. It is a good idea that they have. It just, are people going to use it, and how much are they? I haven't even looked at the price of them and stuff like that. Most likely they're not going to be reasonable, and don't they want to take like 50% fees and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's what we saw in another article. The 50% fees, and that's if you're reselling it too. That they wanted a 50
That's
percent
crazy.
royalty. I'll say one thing he's got going for him though is people love to show off status or try to show high status on social media. So if he can come up with like an exclusive bunny rabbit ear that not everybody can get, you never know. Crazier stuff, has happened in this space. Maverick, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge, and I hate saying that. I do, but think about it. Every photo in history these days is taken with some sort of filter. I should say
Mhm.
every selfie is taken with a filter of some type. So just think about how that applies to the real world, right? So you take an NFT compared to a filter who we get, free and or whatever from these different services, and they have this special one that identifies you as being somebody that's paid a lot of money for it, right? It's unique, it's different, it's special, it makes you look, I don't know, better than most people, or it gives you a unique trait. I'm telling you, and I hate to say it, but yes, it's going to be big. People will pay for it. And I still don't think that there's going to be, how do you call it an NFT, right? Like, is it really going to exist in the blockchain, or?
It says you can store them on MetaMask.
Yeah,
So
well, we'll see. We'll see. I still have
yeah,
my doubts, right? What chain is it going to exist on? I don't know. There's a
yeah, I
lot
don't
more
know.
questions than answers at this point. I do think it's going to be big. I think the fees he's charging are stupid. I wish that people didn't care about this type of stuff, but they do.
Yep.
He's feeding what society wants, and so yeah,
The
that's where I
ego.
stand. Oh, absolutely, man. I know it. If there's a special filter out there that identifies you as somebody special, they will pay so much money for it. It's the same reason why people buy Bored Apes.
Yeah, exactly. There's two reasons
Status.
people buy it: to flip or to show
Same reason.
status. And
You
like
know
a
what? And I
PFP
think,
shows status on Twitter. It's kind of like that, right?
yep. And I love Bored Ape. I think it's a great ecosystem. What they've built is unique. It's special. They've been very successful. I think it's awesome. But at the end of the day, it's a status symbol, right? That's the purpose it serves. At this point, the money's been made. Who knows? It could go a lot higher. I don't know. I'm not a Bored Ape expert, but yeah, it's gonna serve the same purpose and to a much wider audience too. So yeah, I think it'll be successful.
And Myron, you're already whitelisted for this, right?
Yeah, man. I'm using my TikTok dance videos, man. I need to the airbrushing filter that makes me just look like I have nice skin. I'm gonna buy
Uh,
that one, man.
I was gonna say you got the ab filter, didn't you? So that when you take your shirt off, you're always ripped.
Oh, the liquefying where it just makes you bigger, man. But the thing is, I agree with what Maverick's saying. Probably it's gonna be huge. But I'm saying I'm waiting for the day where they actually make an NFT that's not just about a profile picture. That's not just like all these useless, I think, cosmetic stuff. Like someone make an NFT that actually does something. I think last week, or probably last week, we had an NFT a project that's like trying to make NFT as tickets, different things like that. Like right now, Bored Apes, all this, it's just a status symbol. And I know having Bored Apes, I know having some of these NFT projects gets you into like these elite groups that you can get into. I think the Moon Owls, is it Moon Owls? The owl one, it was made by a group that, if you have the NFTs, you can be in the group, this alpha group, and there's also the Neo Tokyo NFTs. But I don't think that's using NFT to its full potential. I mean, you can do that with a membership, right? You can, then I can make it transferable and things like that. So, am I impressed by any of these NFTs? No, it's a money grab. They might make money, probably gonna make money. People spend money on stupid things, man. But when that NFT comes out, another way, people have been talking about NFTs is NFT for games, but maybe transferable assets between games. I mean, that's pretty huge. I think that will help to get into the metaverse, connect the metaverse together. But these ones, not impressed. It's super easy to make, and yeah, especially Zuck the alien takes 50% of the profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something funny to look at. Have you ever seen Snap Camera? It's an application you can
Oh,
use for web filters on your camera. Very similar to what's the name of that thing that you can take selfies with it? Well, whatever. The long story short is if you just download Snap Camera or one of those things, that's exactly what this is. You're just putting filters on your camera and then I guess they're doing a still image with it and then making it an NFT. So couldn't I mean, this is going right back to the whole NFT thing where you can just take a screenshot of the picture and own it, right? Well, why couldn't you just do a snap picture or a snap filter and take a screenshot of yourself and then make that your PFP?
Yeah, and he could go like both ways. Like, yeah, that's totally plausible. But I just think we're gonna end up seeing Jake Paul or Logan Paul or
Yeah,
Drake or
you're
somebody
right.
like that spend $1 million on one of a kind filter, like those bunny rabbit ears or something like that, but a different color maybe. And then it's gonna just become a thing where people spend money on these NFTs.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just the way it's trending.
Look at
Yep.
what people spend money on in video games right now.
Hmm.
Right? You need
Yeah.
coins to get the new gun, right? Come on,
At
they
least the
will
gun
buy
does something.
these. Does it?
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Counter-Strike skins that doesn't do anything that sells for like tens of thousands of dollars. I think some of them even go to the six figures, man. It's just all cosmetic. It's crazy.
Those are the
Yeah.
original NFTs.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, why spend? The Rock spends thousands of dollars on Versace shirts, or at least he used to in the '90s. I mean, it's kind of like, why do that? Why spend that when you can buy a shirt for $20 or something?
No, the Rock NFT. Remember we covered the Rock NFT, the
Oh yeah.
scandal.
Heath Rock.
People spend a lot of money on some stupid stuff, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think his metaverse NFTs are going to fail, but this could be low hanging fruit for him. And I don't want to see. I want to see Facebook go under, someday. So hopefully this does fail, but it would not shock me if this succeeded. But moving on to our favorite social media guy, Elon Musk. This is our final planned topic. A bit of a scare today. Elon Musk tweeted out, not really a crypto story, but we just love to talk Elon Musk, that he may die. He fears he may die under mysterious circumstances. So my question is, do you guys think he's joking? Does this worry you? I mean, the guy's got a lot of enemies. He's helping Ukraine out by providing them Starlink technology, which is helping them in the war. Then there's people just everywhere around the world, both domestic and abroad, that don't like what he's doing with Twitter. So the guy has a lot of enemies. And let's see, let's find the tweet. If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you. So we'll start with you, Maverick. Does this worry you, or is this just Elon messing with everybody?
Yeah, I think this tweet kind of stems to some sort of leaked communication from who knows, right? Who knows where the communication came from? But it was speaking directly to what you said, Smokey. It was essentially him providing Starlink communications so that the military could still communicate, and utilize their service to help support the military efforts against the imposing forces. So yeah, I mean, hey, look, he's a headline grabber. I mean, there's a lot. Anything he tweets, there's going to be a lot of info or focus on it. And I thought even more so than what he wrote, his mother, I think, actually responded back to him. There was a few interesting. His mother's become sort of a figurehead. He actually took her to the Met Gala, I guess, here over the last week or so. I don't know anything about the Met Gala. I could be even saying it wrong, but she is definitely out in the open and in the public, and she's like publicly shaming him. No, no, it's pretty funny to watch, man. I don't think he's at risk, but I'm stupid. What do I know? Draco, you're more of a security guy than I am. What do you think?
Well, so he was threatened back in 2021 by the group Anonymous. So he didn't take that very seriously. But he kind of made a meme out of it and a joke out of it then. This one was a little bit more direct. This one was an actual threat from the space chief, the Russian space chief, Dmitry Rogozin, I think is how you say his name, Rogozin. So he just flat out threatened his life. And that had, circulated over Russian media. A lot of it is because they are allowing people to get internet access over there. And you got to remember, Russia's trying to paint a picture to their people what's going on in this war. And if they have access to unfiltered media, they can see a whole different side of this. And, to piggyback on that part of the story, VPN services in the world right now, the highest concentration of VPN services right now is in Russia. So Russians are trying to get VPN service so they can access unfiltered internet to see the truth, because they want the truth. They don't want to be lied to. And because of the internet, they have a potential to find the truth out there if they can get on it. So I think all of that's combined. I think they're mad at him, not just for what he's doing with, Bitcoin or Tesla and all that stuff. I think it's also because they're providing free internet access to people anywhere in the world, and they don't want that.
Myron, what's your thoughts? Are you scared right now?
Can you go up to the top? I want to ask the real question: is when Elon Musk dies, Mr. Beast in one of the comments says if he can have Twitter, do you think
Yeah.
Mr. Beast will have free speech, or is he gonna lock it down? I don't know where it was, but I saw it.
Yeah, you're right. I saw it too. Mr. B said, "If you die, can I have Twitter?"
Yep, that was the top one.
Yeah, he said okay. But I think he'll be fine. He's and I think we need voice like him, even though I don't, I still have doubts about Elon, like I always say, and I don't think he'll be a target of Russia. But the thing is, Russia does, they're known to poison people and everything. I think he'll be fine. And his tweet, I think his mom replied. His mom's like, "This is not funny" or something, and he's like,
Yeah, I can't find that one, but I saw that.
something back to her too. But the thing is, he always says crazy things. What else did he tweet? I remember he had something else that was pretty crazy. Let me see if I can find.
Did he drink chocolate milk for the first time? What kind of crazy nonsense is that?
Yeah. He did. He had his first glass of chocolate milk.
I mean, I think he's playing it the right way. Being the figurehead that he is, I think he's just exposing that type of stuff. He's just calling it out in the open, like, well, I guess Russia just threatened my life. You know what I mean? And he's just kind of making a gaffe at it. I mean, when you're a rich billionaire and a figurehead across the world and known by, in every single country in the world, and something like that happens publicly, how do you deal with it? I mean, it seems like he's dealing it with humor, and that seems to work for him. So just keep it up.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because he's a private figure, but he's so rich. I'm sure he's kind of obligated, to participate in the war and to help the government out. I mean, you kind of have to, right? If they ask for Starlink, you got to provide Starlink. And now if you're Russia, you're saying, well, this guy's, in the war just as much as any soldier on the ground, right? So they're threatening his life. But you guys got anything else you want to talk about tonight?
You see that one? Come up real quick. The Chinese.
Yeah, go up. He wants to meet his doppelganger.
Oh man,
that guy's been making so many videos. I think it's a deep fake filter that he applied.
No, China made a knockoff of Elon.
They're gonna try to replace him with this guy, and he probably speaks horrible English, and they're just gonna put him in there.
Yeah, it's pretty funny though. They look a lot alike. But I think if you get threatened like this, maybe the best way for you to go about it is just to make it, make it public. I think some people, if people are really coming after you, you just say, "Hey, if I die, just remember I didn't kill myself."
Yeah.
Maybe he'll have. I don't think anything's really gonna happen to him. I mean, if it does, there's gonna be a lot of drama in this world that's gonna come from that.
What do you think his security is like? Does he have a lot of a pretty hardcore security detail in public?
50,000 pod home in Austin. Really, I think he does.
He just lives in Joe Rogan's bunker.
Yeah, I think he has some nice properties, I think, but yeah, I think he does have. I do remember reading that, Myron. He lives in some sort of a pod home, right? It's almost like a Connex box. At least, of course, it's probably special, I'm sure. But
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his security would look like, but it would have to be pretty great under certain circumstances, right?
yeah, he definitely has a security team.
Have you guys seen videos of people just walking up to Elon talking to him? And for the most part, he's pretty friendly.
Yeah.
And I don't really see a lot of security around him. Maybe they're always there watching. But there was a video comparing to the guy trying to talk to Bill Gates, and Bill Gates just like completely ignores him. And he goes and there's a video talking to Elon, and Elon's just standing there like actually having a conversation with the guy. So he's one of the better ones out there.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, does anyone got any other topics you want to hit on tonight?
I think that unfortunately, I think the market's kind of down right now, and it's something for people that have been in it for this last year to kind of pay attention to, because this is how the market kind of has been, and a lot of people didn't think that this would happen. I didn't think that this would happen. I thought that we'd kind of gotten a little bit ahead of ourselves in the market, and it matured a little bit more than to have these huge recessions, if you can, within the market. But to be honest with you, this is just par for the course for people that have been here from 2017 and earlier. People, they've seen this happen multiple times. So I think we can really take a lot from this and learn from this on how to set up portfolios and how to, make sure that we're set up long term and prepare for different market cycles. And I don't think all of us were doing that in 2021. And now, we take this stuff and we learn and we put it in our back pocket. And when we start to see market signals again in the future, after another bull market, we can tell people, all right, whoa, there might be a bear market coming. Let's start making some moves. Let's start putting our money in different areas, start taking more profits than usual, because we're starting to see some things come together. And if you're not ready, it's rough.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. In 2021, when things were going well, I was really hopeful. We're not going to see a crypto winter in 2022. I'm just going to keep compounding my nodes and letting it ride a little bit. I wish I would have put more in stables then, but I will take this, as a learning experience. But at least, hey, if you're in the market now, at least we're probably in the middle of the crypto winter. It's not going to last forever, and it'll eventually come back up. El Salvador's buying the dip. We're seeing big celebrities and institutions get in the headlines. Every time we have a show, we see someone big getting into Bitcoin. So the crypto winter is not going to last forever. That's one thing to remember.
Absolutely.
Any of you guys buying the dip?
With what money?
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
tapped out. Yeah. No, I've been buying a little bit.
Maverick's loaded up BUSD, man.
Woo! I'm ready.
No, I was highly considering buying the UST dip, but I didn't want to. I'm waiting on other things, so I didn't want to just deploy capital willy nilly. But it since we were talking, it kind of already pumped back up a little bit. It looked like UST went up to. Let me check it again. For a second there, it went all the way back up to 83 cents. I don't know where it's at right now, but
Back at 71 right now.
71. Oh, so it dropped back down?
No, 79. I'm seeing 79.
Yeah, and I'm seeing 80. Oh, it's bouncing around really hard. So yeah, it went all the way down to 68 cents, but I think was the bottom, and now it's creeping back up to 80 cents. So if it goes back to that dollar peg, if somebody would have deployed capital in that time frame, you could have made 30 cents plus on your dollar.
Wow.
You found it, Smokey. That's his mom's comment.
Yep.
All right, I'll do my best to stay.
That's not funny.
That's so funny.
Myron, give us some wisdom. Why don't you give us and the audience and everybody some wisdom before we end this?
Something about these. I was gonna ask. I think we talked about this a little bit too. If you think Terra is in a year. Do you think Terra will be around?
Oh,
Or
I
do you
have no
think
clue.
it'll-
I'm not the right guy to ask something like that.
I mean, I
I
think it will be.
personally,
don't.
I see more downside to Bitcoin. And there's, of course, people always call it extreme lows and things like that. Today it wicked $29,000 a little bit. I think it's probably going to go back there because I think the stock market, even though I'm short term bullish on it, it's just way too sold off way too hard. I still think that's probably going to drop a little bit more. It's just way too much bad news. And over the weekend, I think China flew some airplanes, uh, fighters over Taiwan's air, and Taiwan's responding to it. So there's a lot of chaos right now, and the war with Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine still going on. So there's a lot of bad negative news, inflation, and China's complete lockdown with the COVID and everything. It's just a lot of stuff fundamentally macro level is not looking good. And so I do think there's probably going to be more pullback, and I think the best advice right now is to stack cash. And I think one thing I want to say is, if you're already in projects, since right now you're not buying, you're not selling, maybe right now is time to take the time to study while on the project to really convince yourself, should you be buying it? Should you stay in the project, right? Did you buy it because you FOMOed into it and now you're kind of bad holding, and a lot of your thoughts is just hoping it to go up. But now is the time to flood yourself to say, like, if you're in Luna, right? If you got in like 70, 80, 90, or 100, maybe ask yourself, hey, how does Luna actually work? You don't need to sell it. Just ask yourself, how does it work? I know they have probably white paper explaining what's the algorithm they use to keep the peg and everything, but just learn about that. And if you say, hey, this actually doesn't sound that legit, maybe either time to get out of it, or we can do something with it. But I think this is time is extremely slow. I'm not making a lot of buys, and if I do, it's very small money. So I think this is a great time to learn. I'm still super bullish on Bitcoin in the long term. And I think a lot of people are, and there's people out there, even though they're calling for Bitcoin low, they say Bitcoin's going to hit 20,000, but they say Bitcoin will hit 20,000 before it goes back to 100. But for the long term, they're always bullish on it. I think there's only very few people that says Bitcoin's going to zero, like Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. But maybe just like you said, Draco, last week, that they're secretly trying to waiting for the moment to load up, and because they, I think they have a great team of people telling them, and all these governments buying it, U.S. governments talking about it. I'm still very bullish on crypto, but the thing is, there could be more pain, and are you ready for it? And I think a lot of people, I haven't personally, I haven't been to a bear market like this, and some people still don't want to admit we're in a bear market. If Bitcoin does drop below 28,000, it breaks the higher low and higher high, because the low I think in the summer, during summer, was 28,800. So if it breaks that, then you really, we are in a bear market. I think we're in a bear market right now, and bear market is completely different than bull market. And I'll just mention one more thing. I'm done. I'm rambling a lot. There's a fund called Tiger Global, one of the biggest hedge fund in the world, and they did such a great job. I think in the past 2 years ago, the guy's payout, Chase, I forgot his last name, but he got paid $3 billion as the hedge fund manager. He was the highest paid hedge fund manager. Last year, the return for the hedge fund was -8%, which was, it's not too bad. It was down, but it's not too bad. 8%, they can live with it, right? Investors. This year so far, his fund he only has long positions in is down like 46%. And the fund that he has like some short positions in is down like 42 or 44%. So
Wow.
that's billions and billions of dollars. And for a hedge fund to be down that much, it's pretty insane. So in this market, it's not just destroying like us. I think in general, a lot of retail are getting completely destroyed, who are just all in on the market and never faced a bear market before, never have cash to buy the dip. But the thing is, even hedge funds, these like pros that you look up to, you say, oh man, they know what's going on. They're getting destroyed as well. So this time, I think take the time to learn, chill out. Don't take the money to buy every dip. My mom bought the stock at like 50 cents. Then she's like, I told her, okay, save some money. If it drops more, you can buy more. Then she tells me, she's like, oh, I bought the dip at 48 cents. Then I have another order set at 46 cents. I was like, that's not how you buy the dip. It dropped 2 cents. You're buying the dip. That's not how you buy the dip. You can't buy the dip. You can't buy the dip if Bitcoin drops every $100, right? You have to have plans. You buy at support levels and things like that. But have a plan. If you don't have a plan right now, since the market's not doing much, the market's not going to take off without you. Bitcoin, I think if the pump comes, it's going to come really fast, but it's also not going to go from like 30 to 100,000 in a day. You'll have time. There's going to be time where it consolidates it a little bit, and you'll see that it's maybe making the move, but take this time where it's slow to learn. And when the bull market comes, if you survive through it, you'll be making money.
Mr. Maverick, give us some parting words. Maverick?
That was muted.
Muted. Golly. Sorry. I said I couldn't say it any better than Myron Payne's. I hate to say anything different. Educate yourself. Now is a great time. There's opportunities abound. It's just trying to figure out when you're ready to jump on that opportunity. So I'd say just surround yourself with a group and people that you align with, both fundamentally, morally, and that kind of match your style of trading, and then lean on those people, ask questions, get involved. This is the best time to do it. Build those relationships so that you have all the information you need to be confident when you go in. When you start putting more money into a protocol and or a blue chip on the way back up.
Oh, I think Smokey got dropped.
Lost him.
Yep. Yeah, so we lost him. So yeah, I guess the last thing to look at here is that it's not just crypto. It's not just crypto that's down. Everything's down. Gold is down. Precious metals are down. The stock market's down. Everything is down. Oil. Everything is just on fire. So if it was just Bitcoin or just crypto that was having an issue, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But because that's not the case, I'm not as concerned, and we're just going to have to hold on and ride this out. So that's the best advice I could give is, just hold on to what you got and ride it out. And, it's going to come back up. Everything that goes up and down eventually will just go back the other way. So let's be patient and see where this takes us.
I think we said a lot to just stay in the market. And there's a lot of people, even hedge fund managers or these great investors, there's a time in their life they took huge losses. But the thing is, they didn't leave the market. They stayed in the market. They eventually came back. They made it back. So if you leave the market at a loss, you're always being at a loss. So the thing is, you already lost money. If we're down on money, or if you're still in profit, whatever it is, use the lesson you learned to be better. I wish I knew what I know now 2 years ago. But the thing is, I still have so much to learn. But if I use what I know now 2 years ago, I would be a lot more better off than where I am now. But,
Absolutely.
We just keep learning. That's the learning process, and we're all here to learn. We have the community, BnB. We're there just to help each other. So just grab the questions, just put it in the chat. We'll talk.
Smoke, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I lost you guys.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. Draco, or Mr. Maverick, did you get any words in before we end this show?
Oh, he's back on mute.
I've had too many glasses of Jefferson's tonight, so I apologize. I'm not too quick to the mute button. But yeah, I've already gotten my words in, Smokey, though. I appreciate it. It's been a great discussion tonight, and I appreciate all you guys.
Absolutely. It was a great discussion.
Yep, we'll be back Thursday. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.